All right, everybody, thank you for tuning in the channel today. Today we're going to talk about the S&B 52-gallon fuel tank and the S&B air intake. Two things that I won't do without on any trucks moving forward. If you've got a mega cab, your option is the 32-gallon tank. So really you're only working with about 29 gallons if you're pulling something. That's a pretty short distance. You really don't have any other options. And so I wanted to move up to the 52-gallon tank. S&B had one. There's another company that makes one too. I just chose S&B because I really like their air intake also. I put this tank in probably about 2 months ago, and that's why I wanted to get a little bit of time on it and kind of tell you how it works. And I use Alpha OBD2. I've got to get in and calibrate it. And the one thing that Ram gives you is there's there's about 4 different size tank options. And so the best thing I found for this one is once you reach full, the sending unit can only go to the full mark of where it is, and the S&B tank actually has a little level above it. And so if you change that to the 50-gallon tank that Ram offers in the system, you convert it to liters, you enter that in, it works. It'll show like 700-800 miles to empty. All that's great, but when it gets down to a quarter of a tank, it drops in like 20 miles. It'll go from a quarter to flat empty. And so this depends on how the tank is shaped, and so Ram's designed those specific tank settings for, I guess, the shape of their tank and how the sending unit is going to respond. You try to go in there and change some of the sending unit values, the resistance, you're going to get some codes and you're going to have issues. So one of the best things I found is just leave it standard to the 31. It follows pretty common, and the distance to empty is almost accurate coming down once it starts dropping from full. So once you get off that 15 to 18 gallons, you'll actually see your gauge start dropping. I went back to the factory setting, guys. It works the best there. So just want to give you that. If you want to try to calibrate it and you come up with some great answers on how to work, post it below. That's great. Might be interested in using those numbers, but they never really work for me on far as the ECM calibration, but you don't really need it. Another option on the S&B fuel tank, we're going to get in there and show you, is it's got a port so you can actually put an auxiliary pump in to fill your equipment up, which is nice. Some of the questions I had when I bought mine was how far down does that tank drop, and how low does it sit to the ground, and then also if it affects your gooseneck hitch or anything you're going to put in your truck, is it going to be in the way, stuff like that. Had none of those issues. So I'm going to get some quick measurements, show you under the truck, show you the tank, and then we'll move over to the air intake after that. Okay, so looking at the side of the truck, I'm right here by the bottom of the step, the factory electric step. You can see the tank doesn't fall very far below that, which is one reason I chose this brand. Really liked it. It didn't hang down that far. If you look right there, there's your plug if you need to drain your fuel, which is nice. You can drain your fuel off, or you can hook a hose up and have a pump there also. But that's how it fits in. Uses the factory straps. And from the bottom of the frame, because I looked for these measurements, you're about 5 inches drop right there. We go back to the bottom of the frame here, same, about 5 inches, so it goes pretty level across. And then if you look for your bottom bar right there, it's flat across the bottom, so it doesn't change much. It's a really nice tank as far as how it sits in here factory. The look of it, it does wrap around the drive line, so man, they got as much of it as they could. If you can see right there, it's pretty tight. I'll post a picture here in just a sec with the part number on this tank above the drive line. Let's take a look up there. Okay, and if you were looking for this, a lot of these trucks have the, they have the factory Crossmember. If you buy a gooseneck hitch, you can just buy one and bolt it in. Like this is a 3/4 ton that didn't have the prep, so I just bought I think it was the Kurt, and bolted it in right there. But if you look, that tank stops at the front of that Crossmember, so it's not going to get in the way of anything you're going to use that Crossmember for. Okay, so not sure if you can see it, but I show about 369 miles to empty right now. I'm a little bit below the full. At a full tank, I'll show about 415 to 420 miles to empty, just depending on if I've been towing any trailers, but mostly highway driving and town driving, it's about 415. I know that once it starts dropping like it is now, that, you know, I'm down to my 30-gallon range. When it's right on the full, I can put about another 15 to 18 gallons above that, which will get me almost another 300 miles. So you're gonna average about 750 miles to a tank is what I average in this truck, depending on your driving and habits and stuff like that. But that's the settings I use, and seems to work pretty good. Okay, this is the S&B intake. I really like it. Probably got 1 mile to the gallon. I did feel like I noticed a little bit of performance difference, but guys, it's not huge. You're not gonna like say, wow, you know, the performance is way greater. I mean, you're not adding a turbo, you're not, you know, changing the tuning on the engine, anything. So, but the one thing I will say that I really do like about it is you can really hear the turbo, because you pull your baffle out that goes down to the turbo. This actually comes with its own downpipe here that goes to the turbo for the intake, and there's a baffle in the other pipe, and on top of that, this one's a lot larger. It opens it up, and you have the option to leave this plug in or take it out up here, which I know you're gonna get a little more hot air if you take this plug out, but you're gonna get a lot better turbo sound if that's what you're looking for. And this thing, the finish on it, the fit, just to me is like factory. You do have to remove this whole front valance and these little rivets here to get that moved out so that you can remove the factory box. And this one actually sits, it uses the same grommets as the factory box and everything. So, you know, if you sell your truck or you're gonna trade out and you wanna keep this box, it's real simple to pop it right back out, put the factory one back in. So, they do make a sleeve for this. You can't put a sleeve over your air filter. So just want to say overall, I'm impressed with the quality of the S&B products. Man, that tank is just really thick. It's made out of a hard plastic. It's not flimsy at all. It actually feels almost better than the factory tank. When you're taking it out and you're putting this one in, you'll notice the quality. Again, on the air intake, same thing. Just, I mean, it's good quality. I'm gonna run these S&B products on all the trucks I buy moving forward. You know, it's just nice to have that extra diesel down there and not have to take up more bed space. I already run with the Ram boxes, so I lose some bed space on that. And you know, if you add another fuel tank in there, it's just, you're not gonna have any bed hardly at all. So anyway, I wanna thank you for watching the video today. If you've got any questions or comments, please hit that like and subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner, and we'll catch you on the next video. Thanks.